I'm trying to be the parent to my firstborn that I would be with my second, because so many first-time parents are anxious and worried and stressed, and when you have the second one, you go more with the flow. Welcome to Life Unleashed,
the podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Tails Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other, because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
Controversial things that we're planning to do as first-time parents, but let's be a little bit honest. Everything regarding children is controversial.
Yeah, it seems like no matter who you talk to, everyone has a different opinion. And the thing that's really crazy is sometimes, and this is the little disclaimer I'll say, I know that we don't have a kid yet, and this is literally just what we think we're planning to do. Don't get too angry at us if you're like, oh, they have no idea. They'll see what it's like when it's here. Yeah, we know. We're going to see what it's like when we're here, when the baby's here, and this is just what we're planning to do, or things that we might have some interest in, that type of stuff.
We'll do a part 2 in a year, and we can say what
how wrong we are.
Yeah, what we've actually done. But this is what we're planning to do based on our research and our knowledge and our lifestyle. So that'd be fun to dip our little toe in.
Yeah, and this is just what we're planning to do. We're not trying to tell you what you got to go do with a kid or anything like that. This is just our opinion.
We also are not in full agreement on every single thing. But
or even fully informed on everything yet. Some
what are you thinking over there? Okay,
no, I'm
excited.
Just some of the stuff that you might have done a lot of research. I'm gonna just kind of maybe go along with you, and I'm gonna sit here and not say that I've done the research or anything.
I thought you meant like you had something brewing that you haven't told me yet.
No. I'm just there's certain and I'm sure there's some topics that I pulled up some Google things that we can talk about too that you may not even know that we'll talk about that's controversial, and we'll see, like, maybe we agree, maybe we don't. Hopefully it doesn't get too heated or anything, but yeah, so, and that stuff, obviously we may have not done some research, and it may just be our gut feeling. So we're gonna get into all the drama today about the babies.
I'll start with day one, square one, whatever. Before baby is here, I am planning a non-medicated birth. And that is people are very opinionated.
Like no epidural or any of that stuff.
Yeah. So obviously I am very well aware that so much can change between now and then, and even the day of that we go into labor in the hospital. So I am okay. It's not like I'm so anti any medication. I just think I personally would prefer an unmedicated birth. And to other people, that's wild. They could not imagine it. For me, based on my research and knowing my body, I like knowing how I feel, like where I need to push, how I need to be.
Being able to feel everything is what you keep saying to me.
Yes. I think I would enjoy that better, knowing I have full control over my body rather than being somewhat numb down there.
I think, knowing you, I also agree with your decision. Obviously, you're the one that's having to birth the baby, but I feel like after you laid out your case to me, it's like, oh, that actually seems like it probably would be the best thing for you.
I've also never had a high pain medication like that before, and I don't know how my body would react and how I would react. So I don't want the first time being when I'm giving birth to try and experiment. I know what I'm like, and I know my pain tolerance on anything else I've experienced. Like, I've never had my wisdom teeth taken out. So like, I've never had that kind of medication. Like, I haven't had really any medication.
No, you haven't. And I mean, we've heard, some horror stories of people that have had the epidurals and it not gone right. I mean, my mom, for instance, she freaked out when she couldn't really feel her legs, and there was a whole thing going on there with her, and that wasn't good. She may have done better to not have had one.
If I could have a trial run, I would, but you can't. So I just think, knowing myself, I would prefer not to have the epidural. So that is the plan. But also, if you didn't hear, my placenta and my cervix are too close together. So I need to grow more. My doctor has said that in her experience, she's always seen it resolve on its own. But if it doesn't, then I would need a C-section. And then obviously all of this is out the door.
That's right.
C-section also is not in the plan. But if I don't have a choice and that's the best way to get the baby out, then that's what we're going to do. But I will have another scan at 28 weeks. I'm currently 22 weeks. So 6 more weeks, we will get another scan. We will get an update and see if we have moved along in that aspect. And if not, then we'll get another scan in a few more weeks. We'll see from there. So it's just a waiting game.
What is controversy number 2? Do you have one?
Well, something that I don't have the answer to, that I don't know what to do, is pacifiers.
Ooh.
There are so many pros and cons to all of the things around pacifiers that this is supposed to be controversial things we're planning to do. I don't know what I'm planning to do.
I was told by my parents I loved my pacifier.
Most babies do love their pacifier until it's taken away.
Yeah, and your brother said that was a very traumatic experience having to take it away.
It was traumatic for him and for the baby. So
Yeah.
I think overall I probably am planning to use it. I think in that newborn phase, there's so much stress and so much like life to figure out that if there's a solution for one of those problems, I would choose to use it.
So what did they do before pacifiers? Was it like babies would suck their thumb?
Nick is such an old time person. He likes to know about the 1800s and what they did.
Well, there's some wisdom there.
I think probably a lot of kids suck their thumbs. What do you think? Are you planning to use a pacifier?
I think that I would probably have one in case it's needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
I think
registry.
if the kid needs it because it's for comfort. So I think if they're really having a hard time, I think it could be a good thing probably.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if they don't feel like they need it, then and there's other ways to soothe them, maybe you try it without it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I feel like our philosophy is going to be a little bit more like we'll do things as it comes. Like if it feels like they need a pacifier, we will try it. But we're not going to be like, oh, here's it day one type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a controversial topic. Baby sleeping in the bed with you or sleeping in the room.
Ooh, for me, it's a hard no to let the baby sleep in the bed. But we do know people, and also like an influencer I follow, like they said that was what they felt like the only option that they had at that time, and they did what was best for them. So it seems like a hard no to me, but we also haven't been in that situation to see if we would have to like reevaluate our options. But I know I move a lot in my sleep, and it just seems too unsafe for me, knowing my sleeping habits, to let that happen. So for me, no.
I think no as well, just because I would be too scared to like suffocate the baby or something like that.
Like obviously as soon as you touch it, like I would wake up. We're light enough sleepers, like we would know.
Yeah.
But it just still seems too risky. And plus like babies move, and I'm just like,
Okay, so what about baby sleeping in your room?
yes. 100% in the beginning.
Okay, but for how long? That's where I think it's very controversial.
That it is. I don't know.
1 year?
I believe that's what they recommend for 1 year.
6 months?
I don't know anyone who has gone a full year, and I don't think that we would go the full year. I think that you learn your baby so well, and you know their cues, and you have a monitor, and you can figure that stuff out. So I think probably 4 to 6 months would be my guess right now.
I do wonder, and this is the thing, is like because we know so few people that have gone even anywhere probably close to a year. I don't think everyone's under 6 months that we know. So we see their experiences and all the stuff that comes with that. I wonder what it was like on the other side, someone that lets their baby sleep a year plus. Like after that time, do they have a real problem once they're putting the baby in their room when they're older? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely hard. I think that once your baby is like able to do some things independently, then you would feel a lot safer to leave them in a different room and have the monitor on.
Yeah, that's again one of those things that it's like you see both sides.
Yeah, one of our friends couldn't deal with all of the noises because she would wake up every single noise that the baby made, and then she wasn't able to be rested at all. And I do think that would be us.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like we would wake up to any noise, and then we would be nervous.
We recently started having the dog sleep in our room, and I think my sleep has gotten significantly worse since they've been doing that.
Yeah, but they're still adjusting.
Yeah, well, I just hear smacking, licking, and all the tussling around. They're not even in our bed.
Yeah.
And I hear them moving around.
You're getting used to it.
I'm
Don't give up.
I'm not giving up. It's interesting that I don't know. I can see that I do like track my sleep, and my interruptions are like 20 a night.
This is the dad life for you.
The dad life.
Something that Nick has talked about is wanting to homeschool. And for me, I just think that there is so much I don't know how to say this, but like the real world is hearing other people's opinions and learning from other people and seeing how other people interact and also having social skills. And you just can't get that in the house. And if you have a social life or a program that allows you to interact with other homeschool kids, then you can definitely get that. But I think that we are so not outgoing in that aspect that we wouldn't be able to give the kid those opportunities. So I think school is probably the better option.
I'm just dabbling in the idea of homeschool. It seems something that is like, thinking about it.
I do think that there is so much wasted time in school. You can learn what you need to learn in a much shorter time, but because like one teacher's trying to teach 30 kids at a time, it takes all day. And I think that, you could maximize what you do with your life if you homeschooled, but I don't know.
I do think it would rely on you having a really good, strong social network to get the kids out and to put them out in the world, socialize, be with their peers. I think the other thing too is like at school, they get to interact with older kids and things like that. And, you're just not getting that if you're at home or just like with someone else that has, just a few kids that are the same exact age.
What I see being realistic for us is our kid going to school, but then us teaching them things on our own time.
Yeah, that one's a hard one. And I think my dream world, I think, would be to be able to do the homeschool. I think I would really enjoy that. But I think that in reality with work and things like that, I don't see how I would have time to do that.
Yeah.
So that's one of those. I wish, but I don't see how it will happen.
But if you watch people who homeschool, they'll say that they only have to do school for 3 hours a day.
I know, but where am I going to get 3 hours out of my day?
You can outsource some work and I don't know.
That would be nice. Okay. Another controversial topic. Breastfeeding.
So we are planning to breastfeed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be breastfeeding.
I know that first of all, so much can happen. Your milk supply could never come in. There's so much unknowns. So I know. I'm just saying what we're planning on doing. We know a lot of our friends had kids who were breastfeeding, but still not getting enough. So then they have to do both.
Supplement with some formula.
Yeah. But that is the plan. I mean, formula is expensive, first of all. So saving money hack, breastfeed.
But people have some strong opinions on that. You have people out there that are I don't have to breastfeed if I don't want to, all this stuff, whatever. Other people are like, you got to breastfeed. There's strong opinions on both sides of the aisle here.
In my opinion, a fed baby is the best. And if formula does that, then that's great. And if breast milk does it, that's great. I think that if my body allows me to breastfeed, then I should use what my body is giving me. But
and a lot of people talk about it being very hard.
Yes. So that's the thing is I know that it is so hard because our friends who have gone through it and our research, it is so hard. And I think that you don't understand that until you're in it. And it's just same thing with pregnancy. I just did not understand what I was going to feel like until it happened to me. But I'm trying to educate myself the best I can to understand how I can make it a little bit easier or how I can overcome those obstacles, or knowing that once you make it out on the other side, it's okay.
And to mentally prepare yourself for it.
Ensley has really helped educate me. And she's the first 3 weeks were really, really hard. But once you get a hang of what you're doing, then it becomes much easier. So I'm okay, I know it's going to be the worst time of my life for those 3 weeks. But then if I know that, okay, on the other end, it'll get better, then I at least have something to look forward to,
No, that makes sense.
And I think that there's so much information out there that you have to kind of be careful about who you're learning from and what videos you're watching, because there's, everything's controversial and contradicting itself. But there's also so much information that can be helpful. A main thing that stops people from having a good breastfeeding experience is the pump that they're using and how it fits their chest. So if you knew that, then okay, I need to find something else because it might work differently for my body. But that is expensive too, depending on which machines you're buying. But just knowing that, you might think that all breast milk things pumps are the same, but they're not.
They're not.
and learning how to use a machine. We got ours, and I'm like, what are these buttons? So, I started learning, but still, it's hard to learn when you can't use it.
No, that's true. You guys, sometimes you have to be in it to use it and to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. When should you start potty training a kid?
This is Nick's newest thing. He is on a deep dive of learning about potty training.
I've seen a lot of things that talk about that you can start potty training your child much, much earlier than I would say is traditional.
So our most recent finding is that it is likely that these diaper companies were pushing all of these marketing tactics to prevent you from potty training earlier. And so telling you that 2 is when you should even start thinking about it allowed these diaper companies to have more sizes and sell more diapers and make more money, which is a very interesting thought.
Well, I think there's no doubt that companies, particularly big companies, they're incentivized to figure out any way that they can, even if it's not super ethical, to sell you more stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's one of their things,
for sure,
tactics. But nonetheless, that's not the main reason. The main reason is like, what time should you or is best to trying to start potty training your kid?
I think every single kid is different in this aspect because everyone learns at a different pace and has different abilities, and you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do. Right. However, I do think that at this time, without a child in our arms, we think that we would potty train before the 2 years, because we think that is what's best. But we also don't have the kid yet. So.
Yes, we've just seen a lot of people talking about how, starting relatively early on, trying to put their kid on the potty and things like that. And some people seem to have some success with that. And so
Nick's first step was telling me to put one of the kid potties on our baby registry, and someone already got it for us. So.
Yes, you never know. That might start earlier than we anticipate. So that's just something that I think it's going to be really interesting to see once our kids hear how that goes. Like you said, I agree. Every kid is so different, and it may work really well for some kids before 2, and then other kids, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
them.
like some kids are walking at 8 months, and some are walking at 18 months. Like
yes.
10 months is such a big difference, and so that could play a huge role in like your kids' developmental stages and when they are able to comprehend or show interest or be able to go on a potty will definitely vary based on that.
No, that's very true. Any other controversial topics? Let's see what the internet is saying here.
I saw one the other day about tummy time, and that saying that you can basically start tummy time like right away, which I don't know. I haven't done enough research. That was the first I was seeing that video. So I don't know about that, but obviously tummy time is important. I just don't know when you start it.
Okay, so I have a new thing that we can go for. I have some facts, some baby facts pulled up and some baby myths pulled up. Ooh. And you're going to tell me fact or myth.
I'm going to have no idea.
Now, take this with a grain of salt because this is just the internet and some random sites that I pulled up, so these could be incorrect, but we're going to see.
This is not legitimate information for you to take in. This is a game put on by Nick and Wikipedia.
The internet. This is not Wikipedia. This is some interesting sites on the internet. Just take it with a grain of salt. Okay. I got to see if this is the fact one or I think this is the, okay, here we go. You're going to say fact or myth.
Are you going to say all the facts in a row?
No. Learning to talk begins in the womb.
It seems like a trick question, so I'm going to say fact.
Ooh, you're correct. That is true. How your baby starts hearing your voice and other sounds around 23 weeks of pregnancy.
Next week.
Yes. That's why you always hear that it's never too early to start talking and reading to your little one. Your baby will start to recognize your voice in the womb, and research suggests that the sooner you start reading to your baby, the more positive impact it will have on them as they grow.
So next week we should start reading?
We got to start reading the books.
Oh, we got some books in the baby's library.
Do.
Nick started playing Beethoven for the baby. And so my placenta is anterior?
Anterior.
It's anterior, which means that in between me and baby is the placenta. So doctor explained it like there's a pillow between us. So I still am not really feeling the movements that much. And so we were like, maybe if we inspire the baby with some music, we can get some dancing in there. But there was no luck. But apparently playing music is an important thing too. So we'll see. Baby comes out liking Beethoven.
Okay. Newborns are tear free.
That is true.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah,
it's a fact.
I knew that fact.
You did know it.
Yeah. Because you can't, like, your baby's crying and there's no tears coming out.
That doesn't mean that they're not upset.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Newborns should never go outside.
False.
Newborns should never go outside.
Yeah, false. I'm sticking with my answer.
That is correct. That is a myth.
Who would say that?
There are people
Why?
that for newborns that they think that exposure to the sun is very
Well, don't get them sunburned.
well, yeah, but there's people out there that are like you shouldn't bring a newborn outside. Okay, you ready for the next one? Babies poop daily.
I mean, it's going to depend on them, but I feel like it's false.
You feel like it's false?
Yeah.
Myth.
Yeah.
You said it depends, and you're correct. Some babies, it'll be every 2 to 3 days that they'll poop.
Yeah, same.
And some thanks, Danny. And some babies will poop, many times a day.
Well, yeah. I think it depends on, like, what they're consuming, how much they're consuming, that stuff.
Okay. Belly sleep is better for babies.
That is controversial.
Oh,
but I think
okay.
it's going to say myth.
It is myth.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm a belly sleeper, so.
Danielle's getting all these right.
Because I am educated. Yeah, they tell you for your baby to sleep on your back, especially in the beginning.
Babies know how to swim.
False. Myth.
Fact.
No, they don't.
Newborns naturally hold their breath when they go underwater. They have 2 reflexes.
That's not swimming.
Just listen. They have 2 reflexes, the swimming reflex and the dive reflex. One tells them to move their arms and legs, and the other tells them to hold their breath. Researchers have found that none of the babies in their test inhaled any water or choked when they went underwater. In fact, they weren't worried about the next dive and were eager to dive in again.
No.
They're not saying that babies literally know how to swim and are
No.
Michael Phelps out there. But what they're saying is you can put a baby in a water with an adult and that the baby isn't going to just drown.
No. The baby will drown.
I think the baby would drown.
That was a bad one.
It says it's a fact.
Okay, well, that person's a liar.
I think it's a bad statement. It was more of like babies can go underwater is what it should say.
But not really. You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably not. Again, this is just the internet
That was
talking.
bad. Next.
Babies cry with mom's accent.
Probably true.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Correct. It is a fact.
Well, we just learned that they're listening to us, so they're going to mimic what they know.
Researchers can tell the differences between an American, French, Spanish, or any other accent.
What's a French cry sound?
That's a great question.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. That's hilarious. Babies deprive their parents of approximately 44 days of sleep.
True.
True. No one was having any questions about that one.
No.
Babies have more bones than adults.
This is definitely a trick question. But they're not born with kneecaps. That's all I know.
That is one of them, but I didn't ask you because I knew you knew that.
Oh, come on. Give me the ones I know.
Do they have more or less bones than adults?
I feel like I want to say less, but it's probably a trick question.
Could be a trick question either way.
I think it's less.
You think they have less?
Yeah.
False. Babies have more bones than adults. That is a fact.
Yeah. See, trick question.
Your baby is born with about 300 bones.
So where do they go?
They fuse together.
Oh, okay. That makes
Their
sense.
skull is a great example of this. It says it starts out as 3 pieces of bone that eventually join together and make one
When
solid
did they
bone.
join?
Probably over time. Your baby needs to bathe daily.
False.
False.
Yeah.
Correct. That is a myth.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But if that baby be stinking, wash it.
Newborns cannot see anything. They are blind when they're born. Birth.
False.
False. Good. Myth.
Unless they are blind.
Yeah, if they're born blind, then they would be blind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spoil your baby if you pick them up too much.
I feel like that's an opinion.
I agree. It sounds like an opinion to me.
I feel like it's going to say myth, but it is an opinion.
It's a myth. Okay, those are all the good myths and things that I have. Myth and facts.
Good.
I thought some of them were pretty good.
One of those was trash. The swimming one was bad.
It was a very bad question.
And it's going to lead people to be throwing their kids off the diving board.
Yeah, do not take any of those with actual fact. This is just the internet, and we know how often the internet lies to us all.
That was a fun game, though. I liked it. And I did pretty good, so I deserve a prize.
You knew the kneecap one, but I knew you knew that one.
I knew a lot of those.
And that you knew, yes, you did.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that babies have no kneecaps?
Not really. They
It just
don't need
seems
them.
wild.
Yeah.
You would think they would need them because they're going to be crawling in no time.
No, they're not crawling yet.
In no time, they'll be crawling.
They'll
It'll
have
be
kneecaps.
pretty quick. When do the kneecaps come in, Dani?
I don't know. I'm watching Ava. I tell Ensley, tap on her kneecaps and see if they're there.
It's like one day she doesn't have any, and the next day, oh, she has kneecaps. Yeah, babies are just like anything in life. When you're doing it for the first time, there's so much unknown. And as parents, there's no real guidebook. You kind of have to figure it out. And because of that, what you had said as well, every kid is different. And this is the biggest thing that we've seen with our friends and family is the one kid, you feel like you got it all. They have one kid, they feel like they have it all figured out. Oh, I know how to parent. And then you have the next kid, and you have to adapt totally differently because what worked for the first does not work at all for the second. The second is totally different. So it just shows that we're all unique individuals, and we all need different stuff. So I'm just excited to, go on the journey and see like what our first kid is going to be like. Hopefully we're blessed with the second one, and hopefully some of that knowledge and things we learn transfers. But it's going to be a lot of on-the-job learning, which is stressful but also exciting.
This has nothing to do with controversy and things like that. But I saw someone talking about this, and I thought it was a great thing that I'm taking with me, so I thought I would share it. But no, it's not my wise words, it's someone else's. But I am a planner, and I am also very anxious, and so I am well aware that I could be high stress and high anxiety with a baby. So I'm trying to find coping mechanisms to allow me not to be that. And this girl said, I am trying to be parenting. I forget exactly what she said. I'm trying to be the parent to my firstborn that I would be with my second, because so many first-time parents are anxious and worried and stressed, and when you have the second one, you go more with the flow. And so she said she had a boy. He deserves the second mommy. And so I'm like, okay, I love that. Like,
well, I feel like it's a very, whether it's known or not, it's definitely a talked about thing that like the firstborn always gets all the mistakes.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
Well, and that's like inevitable. Like there's nothing we can really do to prevent that from happening other than like try to educate.
You can't rent a baby and try it out.
You can play with a baby doll, I guess, but like, I don't know.
It's so different.
I know that the mistakes are going to happen. We're going to learn. We're going to change what we think is best. And all of that stuff is just going to come with time and parenting. But who I am and the stress and anxiety that I have, my kid deserves to have the relaxed version of me.
I think that's very wise.
And also, sorry, my turn still, with breastfeeding. Kristen Johns was talking about how she was struggling with breastfeeding, and if she could just take a second to relax and not be stressed for a second, her milk supply would be different. And she noticed that. And so the more stressed you are, the more difficult it is going to be to breastfeed. So if you can, I know it's easier said than done, but find coping mechanisms for stress, then you might have a different experience.
Yeah, I think it's even just like having that in your mind of like, I want to be how did you say it? It's like the second?
I want to be the relaxed version, the second mom.
I want to be the second mom.
Yeah.
We want to be the second parents for the second mom, second dad for our. That just makes it sound like
I
we're
know.
foster parents.
That's why I'm like, oh, I should figure out what she actually said. But it was something like that.
You want to treat the first kid like you've had experience
Yeah.
and give them the best that you can. And while you can't do a lot of that, you're still going to have to make some of those mistakes. I think just having that mindset is probably healthy and good. And to know, like, you know, I need to relax some. This is okay. That type of stuff.
And in the beginning, you're going to adjust to a new life and like how things are. But eventually, like, it's okay for you to do things. Like, you can go to the gym, you can, you know, clean the house, you can wear your baby and like do certain things and still go on a walk and all that stuff. Like, in the beginning, it feels like you can't do anything. And that's probably just because you're adjusting. But then know that it's okay to do those other things and find time for yourself too.
Well, I mean, as what they always say, like, if, you know, mom and dad are the captains of the ship, and if you're not taking care of yourself, you obviously have to take care of the baby, but if you're not taking care of yourself and prioritizing your health and mental clarity and that type of stuff, it's not going to be good for your kid. You won't be able to be relaxed. You won't be able, you know, to show up for the best version of yourself for your kid.
The other wild thing that we were talking about the other day is that it hasn't completely set in, although when we were talking about this, it was starting to more, that we will never have the same life again. We will never have a break. We will always have a kid, even if you have a babysitter. Like, that kid is yours for the rest of your life. And so that is just wild to think about. Like, right now, it's just us and the dogs, and that's all we have to think about. But from August on out, like, we are always going to have someone else in our life.
That is true. But
And
that's exciting.
It is, but it's also just like crazy to think about.
Yeah, much more responsibility. But like in that other episode we talked about, I think that as you get older, you want that responsibility and you look forward to it.
That's true. Oh, I have one more thing actually. Now that I'm like, we'll never have a break and this is going to change our life and all this stuff. Because I was talking with a friend about this. Daycare and just like child watch in general, we don't know what we're planning to do. And I think that's okay because a lot's going to change. All we know for sure is that in the beginning, we're not. So I think things are going to change over time. Obviously, we're going to need help at some point or want to give them an experience of some sort that's different than just us. But for now, we don't have plans for anything else other than knowing that we will at some point. But
right.
It's just going to be Nick and I tag teaming and raising the little baby in the beginning.
And seeing how that goes. I feel like that's one of those things that for us, we really have no idea what it's going to look like because we don't have the traditional job. We've set it up to where we work in our house. And so it's like we kind of want to see what it's like once the baby's here to even really know what that's going to look like.
The biggest thing that holds us back from like working, parenting at the same time is the noise of the embroidery machines. But other than that, we should be able to balance everything somewhat nicely.
Yeah, we will. I think that's going to be we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what it's going to be like. There's no way to know until they're here.
No way to know. It's so crazy.
Are there any other crazy things that you expect before the baby's here that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, birth. This is random. Again, like, hate being the center of attention. So opening gifts at a baby shower, like, stresses me out. So for our one shower, we're for sure not opening the gifts there. The other one, I would prefer not to. I don't know if people think that that's rude, and that's not my intentions. First of all, I don't think a lot of people enjoy watching that. There are some people who do, but there's a lot of people who don't enjoy watching that, and it takes up so much time, and like, it's a lot. So that's controversial.
So you're not planning to open the gifts in front of everyone?
I would prefer not to.
So are you going to give a speech and say thank you? Me?
Yeah. It's your shower too.
Are you going to give a speech
it's your baby.
Are you going to give a speech and say thank you everyone?
You are. You're a speech man.
You too?
No, I am not a speech woman.
Yeah, but you got to do one or the other. Open them up or say thank you to everyone.
We could give a duo speech.
You're going to go around to each individual person and say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I could talk to everyone, but I can't talk to everyone, you know?
This is true.
It's so weird. I can't rationalize it. How come I could go and talk to every single person totally fine, but as soon as I have to talk to all of them at once, I can't do it. Makes no sense.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it's not just me. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. I think public speaking, even to a bunch of people that you know, is hard.
Yeah.
Maybe even harder. I don't know.
But it's hard to rationalize. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's fear, but it's irrational fear.
Yeah.
We're worried that the group is going to judge us. And
that's actually something else. If you have a fear of something, you don't want your kid to also have that fear, most likely. So how do you overcome your fear so that your kid also doesn't have that fear?
You got to do it for your kid. So that means that we're going to have to become public speakers.
I wasn't thinking about public speaking. I was thinking about snakes.
Well, you're terrified of them, and I am not scared at all, really.
Yeah.
So.
But if I saw one, how am I going to act so that my kid doesn't act the same as me?
You got to overcome it, Dani.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how. It's hard.
You got to learn about them. That was helping you.
Yeah. I hate snakes.
I don't know why you hate them so much. Slithery. Well, this is a really fun episode. Did you have a good time?
I did. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed and enjoyed the next little game as well.
Stay tuned for part 2, because we're very well aware that we're probably wrong on almost everything, and we're going to be changing, on the fly as we go. But those were our little predictions and how we kind of expect and hope things will go. But we're along for the ride. We're ready. We're excited.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.